My dear brothers and sisters, there comes a moment in every believer's life when everything familiar falls away, when friends, resources, and comforts seem distant or insufficient, and the weight of the world feels unbearable. In that moment when it seems there is no one to turn to, the heart learns the truth that reliance on the creation is limited, and true strength lies only in turning fully to Allah. The Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah that Allah is sufficient for those who rely on Him, those who find in Him the ultimate refuge, the unshakable support, and the ever-present guidance. It is in these moments of apparent abandonment that a man discovers the depth of his own faith, the hidden reserves of his patience, and the unparalleled strength that comes from surrendering to Allah's wisdom. Being alone, truly alone, is a challenge the soul resists. Our hearts are accustomed to seeking comfort in companionship, reassurance in voices, and guidance in human advice. But when these sources are removed, when the world feels silent and the future uncertain, the heart is compelled to turn inward and upward. It is in this turning that strength is born. You may not notice it at first, but the very act of calling upon Allah with sincerity, of placing your trust in Him without any intermediaries, is transforming you. Each whispered dua, each silent moment of remembrance, and each act of obedience becomes a building block of fortitude. Loneliness is not emptiness. It is the soil in which resilience grows. Allah never leaves the one who calls upon Him in desperation without signs of His support. Sometimes these signs arrive as clarity of thought, a sudden idea, or the solution to a problem that had seemed impossible. Other times relief comes through unexpected opportunities, a stranger extending a hand, a door opening at the perfect moment, or guidance arriving in a moment of reflection. Even when circumstances appear grim, Allah's signs are subtle but precise, placed to remind the believer that no hardship is permanent and no heart that relies on Him is forsaken. The man who has no one but Allah learns to see the hidden threads of mercy woven into his life, even in trials, and begins to navigate the world with a quiet but unshakable strength. Isolation also transforms the heart. Patience deepens, reliance on worldly support diminishes, and character is refined in ways that companionship often cannot achieve. Trials sculpt humility, forge courage, and awaken gratitude in the believer. When the heart recognizes that all power, provision, and protection ultimately come from Allah alone, fear diminishes, anxiety eases, and a steadfast confidence takes root. Every difficulty becomes a teacher, every setback a preparation for something greater, and every moment of struggle a reminder that Allah's plan is unfolding perfectly. Finally, the journey of being alone with Allah is a journey of preparation. It is a call to align your heart with sincerity, to purify your intentions, and to anticipate the blessings He is ready to bestow. When a man relies solely on Allah, he begins to move through life with clarity, purpose, and hope. He becomes aware of the opportunities, guidance, and mercy surrounding him, ready to receive them when they arrive. True strength emerges not from having many allies, but from having one constant companion, the Creator who never leaves, never forsakes, and always provides. In the moments when the world fades away and a man stands with nothing but Allah, that is when his power begins, his faith solidifies, and his destiny is placed firmly in the hands of the Most Merciful. The first sign of true strength is the moment of absolute reliance on Allah, a moment that often comes when everything familiar falls away and the support of the world seems absent. When a man experiences loss, disappointment, or isolation, he is faced with a choice: to despair, to seek comfort in what is fleeting, or to turn entirely toward the one who never forsakes. It is in these moments, when the familiar crutches of life are removed, that the heart is compelled to awaken and recognize a deeper reality. The Quran reminds us that Allah is sufficient for those who put their trust in Him, that He is the ultimate protector, the provider, and the source of guidance for those who call upon Him sincerely. When worldly connections fail, when human advice does not bring solutions, and when material comforts are unavailable, the heart begins to grasp that no strength is greater than the strength given by Allah alone. This awakening is often uncomfortable, because reliance on Allah requires humility, surrender, and patience. It requires letting go of the illusion that one can navigate life entirely on their own or through the support of others. This absolute reliance begins with a subtle shift in perspective. A man who once sought security in friends, wealth, or social standing begins to understand that these are only temporary shelters. The true sanctuary is Allah Himself, the one who never tires, never changes, and never falters. When he turns to Allah alone, he discovers an inner resilience he did not know existed. Every trial, every hardship, and every moment of solitude becomes an opportunity to deepen faith. The prayers that once felt routine now carry weight and urgency. The supplications that once were whispered casually become heartfelt cries, and the moments of reflection become lifelines connecting the heart directly to its creator. In this way, loneliness transforms from a burden into a catalyst for spiritual strength, and a man realizes that the absence of worldly support is in fact an invitation to embrace a higher form of reliance. Absolute reliance also brings clarity and focus. When there is no one else to turn to, a man begins to see life differently. He notices the subtle ways Allah is guiding him, even in hardship. The closed doors, the delays, and the challenges are no longer signs of defeat but lessons, shaping his character, strengthening his resolve, and refining his intentions. Just as a blacksmith forges metal through fire, trials shape a man's faith, patience, and perseverance. He learns to measure his actions against the standard of obedience to Allah, not the approval of people, and this shift brings a newfound strength that is unshakable because it is rooted in the eternal rather than the temporary. Another important aspect of this reliance is trust in Allah's timing and wisdom. When a man is left with no one but Allah, he comes to understand that he knows what is best, when it is best, and how it is best. The heart that surrenders to Allah's plan finds peace even in uncertainty. This trust does not eliminate trials, but it changes the way they are experienced. Instead of despair, the believer feels hope. Instead of anxiety, he feels patience, and instead of weakness, he feels the quiet but unyielding strength that comes from knowing that his affairs are being managed by the most merciful. Reliance on Allah teaches the heart to endure with dignity, to act with sincerity, and to remain steadfast regardless of circumstances, knowing that every difficulty carries a hidden mercy, and every delay is a preparation for something greater. Being alone with Allah also sharpens a man's awareness of His presence in every detail of life. He begins to notice the subtle signs of guidance, the small blessings that were previously overlooked, and the ways in which Allah orchestrates circumstances to bring relief, wisdom, and growth. He learns to see hardship not as punishment but as a means of purification and empowerment, and this realization builds an inner strength that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. In the absence of human support, the man's connection with Allah becomes the source of all courage, resilience, and fortitude, and he begins to understand that true strength begins when everything else falls away and all that remains is trust, surrender, and reliance upon the most merciful. The second sign of true strength is found in the hidden power of solitude, the realization that being alone is not a weakness but a training ground for spiritual and emotional resilience. When a man has no one but Allah, the world may seem quiet, even empty, yet within that silence lies an extraordinary opportunity for growth. Solitude strips away distractions, forcing the heart to confront its deepest fears, desires, and weaknesses. It is in these moments that the soul begins to awaken, recognizing that human support, while comforting, is limited and temporary. Allah, the ever-present, becomes the only constant, the one unwavering presence to lean upon, and through this reliance a man discovers a strength that cannot be taken away. Just as a seed grows stronger when buried in darkness before breaking through the soil, the heart grows stronger in solitude, nurtured by reflection, prayer, and trust in the most merciful. Solitude allows a man to truly know himself and understand the depths of his faith. When there is no one to distract him, no voices offering advice or comfort, he is confronted with his own heart, and this confrontation brings clarity. In the quiet of isolation, he begins to notice the patterns of his thoughts, the hidden weaknesses, and the unfulfilled potential that may have been overlooked while relying on external support. It is a humbling process, one that requires sincerity, honesty, and courage. The Quran reminds us that those who are patient and rely on Allah will be rewarded beyond measure, and solitude serves as the perfect environment to cultivate this patience. It teaches a man that true reliance is not dependent on the presence of others, but on the depth of connection with his Creator, and that this connection is a source of unmatched strength. Being alone also cultivates independence in decision-making, discernment, and personal growth. When a man faces challenges without immediate support, he learns to trust his judgment guided by divine wisdom. He begins to understand that guidance from Allah is more reliable than the fleeting advice of others. Each decision becomes an opportunity to strengthen faith, to act with integrity, and to exercise reliance on Allah's plan. The absence of external influence forces him to seek solutions through prayer, reflection, and reliance on divine guidance. This process fosters resilience, sharpens judgment, and deepens spiritual insight, and over time the man realizes that his perceived isolation was a necessary stage for empowerment, shaping him into someone capable of navigating life's complexities with confidence and patience. Solitude also deepens emotional and spiritual awareness. A man becomes more sensitive to the blessings he already possesses, more conscious of his dependence on Allah, and more appreciative of life's small miracles. The moments of reflection, the long conversations in the heart with Allah, and the quiet observations of life around him all contribute to an inner fortitude that cannot be replicated in the presence of constant company. He begins to see that loneliness is not emptiness but a space of preparation, a stage where his faith, character, and resilience are being strengthened so that he may face the world with unwavering trust, clarity, and courage. Moreover, solitude prepares the heart to receive guidance, opportunities, and mercy from Allah in ways that are often overlooked when surrounded by constant noise. The quiet allows a man to hear the subtle signs, recognize the gentle nudges, and act upon the divine messages that appear in his life. Each moment alone becomes a lesson, a source of reflection, and a chance to cultivate patience, humility, and reliance. The hidden power in solitude lies in the transformation it produces, turning apparent weakness into extraordinary strength, fostering self-reliance guided by divine wisdom, and preparing a man to embrace the blessings Allah has written for him with a heart that is aware, resilient, and steadfast. The third sign of true strength emerges through the recognition of Allah's assistance in ways that often go unnoticed until the heart is fully attentive. When a man has no one but Allah, the world may appear silent, but the presence of divine support becomes clear in subtle and meaningful ways. Guidance often arrives when it is least expected, in forms that seem ordinary at first glance, yet carry extraordinary significance. It may be a sudden insight during prayer, a verse of the Quran that speaks directly to the challenge at hand, or a chance encounter that provides clarity and direction. These moments are not coincidental. They are the signs of Allah's meticulous planning, a reminder that even in solitude a believer is never truly alone. The heart begins to recognize that divine assistance is constant, that every difficulty is accompanied by a pathway to relief, and that trust in Allah is the gateway to understanding and embracing this support. Divine assistance often manifests in timing that is perfect yet subtle. Just when despair threatens to overwhelm, an opportunity may appear, a solution may present itself, or clarity may suddenly illuminate a path that was previously hidden. The Quran assures us that Allah is near and responds to those who call upon Him, and when a man relies solely on Allah, he begins to notice this nearness in tangible ways. Small moments of guidance, seemingly coincidental encounters, or the sudden resolution of a problem serve as reminders that Allah's support is active, precise, and tailored to the believer's situation. These signs cultivate hope, fortify patience, and remind the heart that no trial is beyond His power, and no need is too small to receive His attention. Recognizing Allah's assistance also transforms the way a man perceives challenges. Trials that once seemed insurmountable begin to appear as opportunities for growth, guidance, and preparation. Every hardship becomes a lesson, every delay a sign of divine wisdom, and every obstacle a reminder of the need to remain steadfast. A man begins to see that Allah's help does not always come in the form he expects. Sometimes it arrives as patience to endure, insight to navigate, or the quiet strengthening of the heart to face adversity with dignity. By attuning to these signs, the believer cultivates an awareness that strengthens resilience, builds trust, and nurtures a sense of purpose that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Divine assistance is also revealed through the resources Allah places within a man's reach, often through unseen connections, opportunities, or inner guidance. A timely idea, a helpful gesture from a stranger, or an unexpected solution to a persistent problem are all manifestations of Allah's support. These signs teach that reliance on human aid alone is limited, and that true power and provision come from the One who controls all affairs. The man who notices and acts upon these signs strengthens his connection with Allah, becoming more attentive, more patient, and more capable of navigating life's challenges with wisdom and clarity. He begins to understand that every step he takes, every prayer he utters, and every moment he spends in reflection is part of a divine system of support designed to guide, protect, and elevate him. Moreover, awareness of Allah's assistance fosters gratitude and humility. The believer realizes that no achievement, no solution, and no success occurs independently of divine support. Even moments of personal effort are framed within the larger context of Allah's guidance and mercy. This recognition strengthens the heart, deepens faith, and cultivates a resilience rooted in divine reliance rather than human dependency. By observing and acknowledging the signs of Allah's help, the man not only finds hope in the present but also prepares his heart for the greater blessings that are already on the horizon. He begins to move through life with trust, awareness and confidence, understanding that his strength is multiplied by the support of the Most Merciful, who is never distant, never inattentive, and always ready to assist those who place their reliance entirely upon him. The fourth sign of true strength is found in the transformation of the heart and character, the quiet but profound changes that occur when a man relies solely on Allah. When a person experiences isolation, hardship, or the absence of worldly support, the trials are not meant to break him, but to refine him. Just as a blacksmith places iron in the fire to purify it and shape it into something strong and useful, Allah uses the challenges of life to strengthen patience, resilience and faith. Each difficulty becomes a tool for molding character, each setback a lesson in humility, and each moment of endurance an opportunity for spiritual growth. The man who learns to navigate life relying only on Allah develops a fortitude that cannot be shaken by circumstance, because it is rooted not in external support but in the unshakable foundation of divine trust. Transformation often begins subtly, with changes in perception and priorities. A man starts to recognize what truly matters, and what is merely a distraction. He becomes less concerned with the approval of people, and more attentive to the satisfaction of Allah. Small moments of decision, which once might have been influenced by fear or societal pressure, are now guided by reflection, sincerity and submission. This shift allows the believer to act with integrity, courage and clarity. Challenges that once produced frustration now become opportunities to practice patience, gratitude and perseverance. Over time, the accumulation of these small changes leads to a profound reshaping of character, preparing him to embrace the blessings Allah has written for him with a heart that is mature, steady and aware. Trials also refine the emotional and spiritual dimensions of the heart. A man learns to navigate disappointment without bitterness, loss without despair, and uncertainty without panic. He discovers that every moment of hardship carries a lesson, a hidden mercy, or a subtle guidance from Allah. This awareness cultivates humility, as he realizes that all strength, wisdom and success come from Allah alone. It also nurtures resilience, allowing him to endure difficulties with patience and to respond to challenges with faith rather than frustration. In this way, character is forged in the crucible of reliance upon Allah, producing qualities that cannot be learned through comfort or ease alone. Strength emerges not from the absence of struggle, but from the ability to withstand it with dignity and trust. The transformation extends to moral and spiritual awareness. As reliance on Allah deepens, a man begins to observe his actions, intentions and thoughts more carefully. He becomes conscious of his responsibility to act in accordance with divine guidance, to purify his intentions, and to seek closeness to Allah through obedience and worship. The heart that was once distracted by worldly desires and temporary attachments begins to prioritize eternal truths and spiritual fulfillment. This internal realignment ensures that when relief and blessings arrive, they are met with a heart prepared to appreciate them fully, to use them wisely, and to continue growing in faith and gratitude. Another aspect of this transformation is the development of courage and confidence grounded in trust. A man who has faced challenges alone, relying solely on Allah, gains a strength that is not dependent on others. He learns that true protection, provision and guidance come from the Most Merciful, and this awareness allows him to face life with a steady heart and unwavering resolve. Each difficulty endured, each moment of patience practiced, and each trial overcome becomes a testament to the fortification of character and the development of a resilient spirit. The transformation of heart and character, though gradual and often unseen by others, is a profound sign that Allah is preparing him for better days, cultivating an inner strength that will support him through both challenges and blessings alike. The fifth sign of true strength is the call to embrace trust, preparation and readiness for the blessings Allah is sending, a gentle urging that shapes both heart and action. When a man has no one but Allah, he begins to sense that the changes he desires are already on their way, even if he cannot yet see them. This inner awareness inspires a dual response, one of surrender to Allah's plan and another of proactive preparation for what is to come. Just as a farmer prepares the field, waters the soil, and removes stones before planting seeds, a believer must ready himself spiritually, mentally and emotionally to receive the mercy and provision that Allah has destined. This preparation is not passive. It requires intention, reflection and effort, all rooted in the trust that Allah's timing is perfect and His wisdom beyond comprehension. Preparation begins with the purification of the heart. A man is urged to cleanse his intentions, seeking to act solely for the pleasure of Allah, rather than for personal gain or societal approval.
Past grievances, envy and resentment are released, replaced by patience, gratitude and sincerity. Acts of worship become more deliberate, prayers more heartfelt and reliance on Allah more conscious. This purification ensures that when blessings arrive, they are received with humility and gratitude rather than pride or neglect. The process of cleansing the heart creates a fertile ground where divine mercy and guidance can take root, allowing a man to experience the fullness of Allah's generosity in ways that are lasting and transformative. Another aspect of preparation involves attentiveness and awareness. When a man is alone with Allah, he becomes increasingly sensitive to the signs, guidance, and opportunities presented to him. Small coincidences, timely insights, and moments of clarity are recognized as deliberate markers from Allah, signaling the approach of relief and the opening of new paths. By remaining vigilant, the believer learns to act decisively when opportunities arise, recognizing that readiness is a form of worship and trust. This awareness sharpens judgment, aligns actions with purpose, and cultivates a sense of hope that transforms anticipation into active preparation rather than passive waiting. Patience and perseverance are central to this readiness. Even when trials continue or the anticipated blessings seem delayed, the believer understands that every moment is part of Allah's plan. He endures with dignity, maintains hope and continues to act toward what is right, trusting that the unfolding of events is precisely timed. The Quran reminds us that with hardship comes ease, and in moments of patience, a man strengthens his faith and prepares himself to fully embrace the ease that will follow. Every act of perseverance, every moment of quiet trust, and every prayer offered in sincerity contributes to the building of strength and the shaping of character that makes the forthcoming blessings meaningful and sustainable. Preparation also requires letting go of what no longer serves the believer. Attachments to unhealthy relationships, harmful habits, or unproductive pursuits are released, creating space for growth, guidance, and the reception of divine mercy. This pruning is an act of wisdom and submission, acknowledging that Allah's plan is greater than human understanding, and that the removal of obstacles is part of the preparation process. By clearing away what hinders spiritual and emotional growth, a man positions himself to receive blessings in a way that maximizes their benefit and impact, both in his own life and in the lives of those around him. Finally, trust in Allah permeates every action, every thought, and every moment of readiness. A man learns that reliance on human support is limited, but reliance on the most merciful is boundless. He moves through life with courage, hope, and anticipation, fully aware that the hardships endured, the prayers offered, and the patience exercised are not wasted. Each of these steps builds an inner strength that aligns with divine timing, ensuring that when the blessings arrive, they are met with a heart that is prepared, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that is resilient, fully capable of receiving, appreciating, and acting upon the mercy of Allah.